Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Homebrew Buffoonery. So today's beer is an American IPA. I've been doing a lot of Belgian stuff and European stuff, done a Czech and done a Vienna lager recently, and they're not very fruity, and I do like the fruity beer, so I'm doing a beer for myself now. It's perhaps the wrong time of year for it, because it's end of October now, but I like fruity beers, and so that's why I'm making this American IPA. Due to my washing machine being on, I've already mashed in because it was making the right racket and you do it on video, so I didn't bother. So the recipe today is 1.3 kilos of Marisota, 150 grams of Vienna malt, and the hop additions are 10 grams of Mosaic at 30 minutes in the boil, and 5 grams of Amarillo as a whirlpool addition at the end of the boil, and I'm going to leave that to stand for 30 minutes. And the yeast I'm going to use today is going to use a clean yeast, US-05, and that's the beer recipe for today. So as you can see, I'm already mashed in at temperature, and today I've got my little silicone hose on, but I still don't have the blue tack, and I couldn't find anything to bung the end up with it, so I'm just letting it run through the end, and it'll do what it does. On the last brew video, I just did it out of the metal hose barb on the return from the pump, and I was warned about something called tunnelling, but as it happened it didn't matter. I gave it a stir after about 15 minutes of the mash time, and I hit the numbers bang on. Brewer's Friend numbers absolutely spot on, so that's now under the stairs. So I'm not too fussed about it. I've just letting it run out of the end there, and we'll let it go like that for the full 60 minutes. Okay, so just whilst we're mashing in, I thought I'd just go through the Brewer's Friend figures. There it is. You can see it there. Can you see it there? So, original gravity of 1060, final gravity 1012 for an ABV of 6.21, 61 IBUs. I'll talk about those in a second, and 6.8 SRM. So it's going to be quite a light coloured IPA. But you can see down the middle there, everything in the stats for it is ticked green, so I'm bang on style for the American IPA, which is great. So the thing about the bitterness is that obviously you get all your bitterness from your hops and all at different times in the boil or whether you're whirlpooling, and I've sort of played around with the hops a little bit. I started off with 10 grams of hops at 60 minutes and 10 grams of another hop of Amarillo at 15 minutes and messed around with it, but it gave me IBUs of well over 100. So I've had to play around with the hop numbers really, and knocked them down quite a bit, because I used to be putting an ounce, if you recall some of the early videos, I put 25 grams of Citra and Amarillo. It's really, really strong. So I've cut it down. So today I'm using 15 grams. And 10 grams of Mosaic at half an hour in the boil, and then just 5 grams of Amarillo. But hopefully that'll give me the fruity beer that I'm looking for. And I'm just, like I said, just using the clean US-05, because I've had some trouble with yeasts recently, especially with my stout, with it sort of stalling on me. And I looked to see what kind of yeast is best for a stout, and just said use US-05. So that's what I'm going to do, use half a pack of that, and put it under stairs and see what we get out of that. So here's some of the notes for the American IPA. And it says its overall impression is a decidedly hoppy and bitter, moderately strong American pale ale, showcasing American and New World hops. So I'm using Mosaic and Amarillo. I think they're both New World hops. That's fine. Hop flavour is medium to very high. Well, in the previous IPAs I've done, they were really, really high. And should reflect an American or New World hop character. Citrus, floral, pine, resinous. Medium high to very high hop bitterness. Well, I'm used to that. And malt flavour should be low to medium. So I'm thinking between a sort of European-y kind of lager, which uses more of the older style hops like SARS and what have you, the flavour comes more from the malt, whereas in the American stuff it comes more from the hops. Well, it's fine, you know, it's just different styles, isn't it? The comments on it, as a modern American craft beer interpretation of the historical English style, but the only difference between that and the English style is that it uses American and New World ingredients. Pale ale malt is standard sort of base malt for it, and it's just the hops that you're using. And then it says its colour ranges from medium gold to light, well, so that's okay for us. And vital stats 40 to 70, colours 6 to 14, OG maxes out at 1070, and final gravity at 1014, and the ABV goes from 5.5 to 7.5. So, like I showed you on the Brewer's Friend thing, they're all smacking it. So, looks like we're bang on track. Okay, so we're just approaching the end of the mash now, and I just thought I'd show you about this tunnelling issue. I think it's if the water gets returned and goes back in just to one spot. I think the problem was that they think that the water would find its own way amongst the grain and create a little crater, and the water wouldn't be returned through the grain. But as you can see there, it's coming out of here, and you can see there's a bit of a circulation going on there, so I'm not too fussed about that. And I gave it a bit of a shake after 15 minutes, so I think for 45 minutes worth of recirculation, that's not too bad. There's another 5 minutes or so to go, but I'm quite happy with how that's working. It's all going rather well. So that's the mash done. All I need to do now is take it from here into here, and I'll leave that to rest for 10 minutes, see if I can get any more out of it, and then I will start the boil in this pot here. I will say that the wort is nice and clear this time, and I will remember to whirlpool after the boil when I put my last bit of Amarillo hops in, and I'll also whirlpool after I've chilled it as well. But all seems to be going well. Okay, so getting back to the tunnelling thing, now the wort's drained out here, you can see that this is where the wort came out, and you can see just in here the kind of hole that the water returning created, the sort of little crater that it created in the grain. So there is obviously something to it about the old tunnelling effect, which is why the flexible sparge arm I'm planning on getting is going to be so helpful, because that'll return water more evenly over the grain bed. But it's not gone through all the way, so it seems to have gone okay, that, and nothing to worry about. Okay, so 30 minutes to go in the boil, 10 grams of mosaic, in she goes. Next is 5 grams of Amarillo at flame out, and I'll also put in a quarter of a teaspoon of whirlfloc with 15 minutes left. Okay, so we've got some whirlfloc there, which is a bit like a younger, more virile cousin of Irish moss. Apparently it's negatively charged, and what it does is it attracts all the positively charged proteins in the wort, and it sort of brings them out of solution. So when you whirlpool it, the negative and positive ions are sort of cancelled out, and it forms a precipitate, fancy science word, that falls to the bottom of the wort and clears it out. So with 15 minutes to go, here's my bit of a teaspoon of it, and in it goes. I will also note that I think my hop bag has exploded, so my hops are all in my beer, but hopefully with the whirlfloc that'll precipitate out and we'll still get a nice clear wort. Okay, so we're at the end of the boil now, and I've got my 5 grams of Amarillo in a properly tied up hop bag, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly give it a quick whirlpool like that, and then hopefully all the stuff rubbish in it will fall out of solution and sit on the bottom of the pan, and then what I'll do is I'll drain it off using this as a filter, and get it in the cooling pan ready to cool down and pitch the yeast. Okay, so we're at that time now where we're going to transfer the wort into the cooling pan, and it's been sitting for half an hour or so, and so hopefully the drug will be below the ball valve there, and we shouldn't really get that much muck out of it. But like I say, I'm going to whirlpool again before I transfer back into the demijohn and pitch the yeast and put her in understairs to ferment. So here we go. It seems to be reasonably clean at the minute, that's good. Okay, so there's the rubbish that's left at the bottom of the stock pot mash tun there. Again, it's helpful, not this ball valve, this opening here, not having the extra bit of tubing on that holds a bazooka filter. That's really helpful because it helps me get a ton more of the wort out, and it's not sort of blocked from coming out. So I'm pretty happy there. Pretty sure I've got more than 5 litres to go in the demijohn, so all is good. So gravity reading it's just fallen short of what Brewer's Friend said, which was 1060. This is 1056, so that's not too bad. And hopefully with the US 05 yeast, it'll knock it down, and we'll get the right ABV that he said on the Brewer's Friend. Okay, so here we are now, just about to put all the beer into the demijohn. All I've done is I've put my short silicone hose from a pump into a funnel. I'll give it a whirlpool so it's already aerated, but this seems to aerate it pretty well. If you watch the last video, it sort of bubbled over, but I'm hoping to get it up to here with nice clean wort, and that'd be good for pitching the US 05 and sticking it into stairs in that there brewery. And it seems to be pretty clean, which is good. Not as clean as when I've done it with the auto siphon, but still not too bad. It'll be interesting to see how much is on the bottom of the stock pot here. Okay, that's not worked brilliantly. I think what I'm going to do is go back to the auto siphon and a longer whirlpool, 30 minutes rather than 15. Still a lot of rubbish in there, but let's just close that off and put that somewhere undrippable. Stay. Will do. I can go in the sink. Now, all I need to do is pitch my US 05 half a packet and give her a bit of a shake. Put bubbler on, and there we go. Just over 4.5 litres, nearly 5 litres of an American IPA. Twinkle's School's Out, and I'm calling it that because we're on half-term holidays this week. So something for me, and something nice and fruity. And let's get it under stairs and ready to ferment. As usual, if you've got any comments or any suggestions, any improvements, there must be loads of those, leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. Other than that, it's ta-ra for now from that there brewery, and you can like and you can subscribe, and why don't you be selfish and go and brew something you like.